Hugged the wife and drove to work today. It was only a few miles. Was in no hurry, but the lights were changing up ahead, so I stepped on the gas. I checked the Mac, I left it on overnight, downloading all the latest files. Peer to peer, the torrent flows into my lap, and I disconnect. We all know, no need to remind us. We all know, but won't connect the dots. We all know, locked away inside us. We are dying for tomorrow. We are living for today. I rush back home to my family. I got my son a brand new game. No need to cook. I picked up fast food on the way, and it's finger-licking good. Have you seen little Steve today? Guess he's still up there in his room. But if he comes down, tell him I'll be right here, just staring at the tube, playing his game. We all know, no need to remind us. We all know, but won't connect the dots. We all know, locked away inside us. We are dying for tomorrow. We are living for today. Don't you think it's rather warm tonight? Especially for the time of year. I turn up the air, pull my sheets up to my chin, and I close my eyes. Can't relax, can't fall asleep. Should I take another pill? I turn on the lights, light up a cigarette and smile. I've got it made. We all know, no need to remind us. We all know, but won't connect the dots. We all know, locked away inside us. We are dying for tomorrow. We all know, no need to remind us. We all know, but won't connect the dots. We all know, locked away inside us. We are dying for tomorrow. We are living for today.
All right, that Ayreon song right there is called Connect the Dots. It features Ty Tabor of King's X. It's on CD1, which is called Planet Y. It's on the brand new Ayreon album, 01. Right now, we're going to talk to Arjen Lucassen from Ayreon. We've divided the interview into two segments. And after the first segment, we're going to go ahead and play another track for you. And that track is going to be called E = MC squared. I'll tell you more about it after we play it. But right now, let's go ahead and get into the interview with Arjen Lucassen of Ayreon right here on the SPV podcast.
You know, for people maybe that aren't familiar with Ayreon, let's catch listeners up on Ayreon. How did Ayreon come to be?
Well, as a little kid, I heard Jesus Christ Superstar, you know, the one with Ian Gillan. And I think ever since I heard that, I knew that one day I would like to do something like that. I've been in various bands ever since I was like 15, in various rock bands where I couldn't do like the opera thing. But then in 92, I quit the band and I started to work on Ayreon. And finally, you know, my dream came true and I could do like this rock opera thing. And I finished it in 93, 94. the first Ayreon album called The Final Experiment. And as expected, no one was interested. You know, all the record companies told me, like, you're crazy, man. This is the 90s, you know. This is the days of grunge and stuff. And you got to be crazy to do a progressive rock opera, you know.
Yeah.
You're crazy. So, like, everyone turned me down. I still got, like, letters of about 50 record companies saying, like, yeah, it's cool, it's great, but we're not interested. And then finally, Japan was interested, JVC, a really small label in Holland, wanted to release it. It was actually the first release they ever did. It was a starting label. In the beginning, it sold like a little, you know, and then after a couple of months, a couple of thousand, you know, and then after 3 months, it was 10,000. After 5 months, it was like 20,000, and it was amazing. It started selling, you know, to everyone's surprise, including my own.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yep.
Without, you know, going into like hours and hours of explanation, what can you say the story is that starts off with the first album and now continues through the new one, 01?
Well, basically, when I started the Ayreon thing, I didn't know. I thought it would be a one-off thing, you know. So I didn't feel that it was going to be an ongoing story, you know. It was just this one science fiction story. Then I did the second album, which wasn't connected to the first. And then I did the third album, which wasn't connected to the first two. And then suddenly, with my fourth album, I started connecting all the stories. And as you said, this last album, 01, it links all my Ayreon albums, and suddenly it becomes like this whole big story, you know, this big science fiction story, which is like way too complicated to get into.
Okay. How did you decide that this was going to be the title for this record?
I think, well, the working title was The Sixth Extinction, but that's like a tongue breaker, you know, The Sixth Extinction.
Yeah, I can see that. That is a little difficult.
Yeah, it looked really great when you wrote it down, but when you had to pronounce it, it was horrible. And then I was doing this vocal line with one of the female singers, Anneke, from The Gathering, and she sang a couple of words to me. She said, I would like to do something like this, and she sang the months of the year, like January, February, March, and I was like, what can I do with this? And then suddenly I thought, hey, binary code would be fun, because it's a story about an alien race who've become completely dependent on technology and who talk to each other in binary code. So then I wrote binary lyrics for her, and then all of a sudden I thought, well, wouldn't it be cool to give the album a binary title? It hasn't been done before. And then I thought, well, maybe, you know, the story is about Planet Y, which is the home of the Forever race that was introduced on my third album, The Electric Council. So I thought, well, maybe Y in binary code, and I looked it up, and it was rather easy, 0101 1001. So again, I told people, you know, like, I'm going to give it as binary code, and everyone's like, you're crazy, man. You're like a nerd, you know. You can't do that. That's silly. People won't remember, and people can't buy it in the shops. But in the meantime, it charted in 13 countries, so I think I did something right there.
I think so.